Hello, everybody. All right, let's get started tonight. So, welcome in, welcome in, welcome in. Let's get started. Let me get my chats going here. All right, welcome in. So, tonight, everybody, we're going to be making some waffles. So, if you remember last week, we made some waffles last week. Actually, we made some chicken last week. It was a Korean chicken, it was absolutely delicious. So this week we're going to be making the waffles that I actually went along and I actually had with my family afterwards. So in case you wonder why I'm going back and forth, this is my first time to try to stream on two separate cameras and two separate platforms at one time. Um, so what we're going to be doing, we're making some chicken. We're just making the waffles part of the chicken. So if you remember the Korean chicken we had last time, last week we made that Korean fried chicken, and now we're going to be adding the waffles to that. So uh, you're gonna hopefully enjoy that as well. So I'll wait a couple more seconds. Everybody get involved and get here. But this is actually what we're gonna be making. So many people when they're trying to make waffles, they just open up a bag or open up a box these days and just really go through and just uh, pour some waffle batter in a bowl, and next thing you know, you have waffles. However, know this that you can make waffles pretty quickly from the ingredients you have at home. It goes pretty quickly. You can make some waffles, and like I said, we're gonna make this pretty quickly. And then, if time permits, because I liked our classes to go no more than 30 minutes, because I know we all have busy lives. So if the time permits, what we're going to be doing after that, we're going to be making some brown butter to put on those waffles. Okay. All right. So let's get into this right now. So what I have are all the ingredients, and if you look at the numbers below, I shared everything on YouTube. I shared the ingredients. We have 1.5 cups of flour, a half teaspoon of salt, 2 teaspoons of baking powder, two each eggs. We're going to separate those, and I've already separated them ahead of time. We're going to have a cup of milk, and then we're going to have 4 tablespoons of olive oil, and then some vanilla as well. We're going to just play around with the vanilla. It depends on your liking as well. If you have any questions, please throw them in the chat. If you're on YouTube, throw them in the chat. If you're on Instagram, throw them in the chat as well. I'd love to see what you actually have. So I've got a couple of people I'm going to wave to here. Um, so thank you for joining me. Any questions before we get started on this tonight? Like I said, we're just making some waffles. Just really fun, simple. All right, so first thing we're going to do, all right, I'm just going to pull my bowl over here for you. If you have trouble seeing anything or you have any questions, don't hesitate to ask. All right, one of the first things we're going to do, we're going to take our dry ingredients, we're going to mix our flour in. Then we're going to mix our salt. All right. And then what I did here with our baking powder, we have 2 teaspoons of baking powder. But what a lot of people don't know is that people wonder what this little lip is here for. All right, let's see if I can focus that in a little bit better. So I've had people ask me before, what is this little lip right here? And in the cooking class, I would just like to teach a little bit. So the lip, what it's for, it's honestly for this little piece right here. Watch. That way you have a full baking scoop right here. So what we did here, we just took that lip, you scrape it on there. That way you have a full flat scoop right here. Okay. You have a full flat scoop right there. You drop it in. Okay. And now we're going to do two, because if you have a teaspoon that's like that, it's not going to be the same, because with a teaspoon in measurement, you actually want to have a flat teaspoon like that. Okay, it's supposed to look like that. Okay, nice and flat, nice and smooth. And you don't want it packed in, you just want it simple like that. Okay, that's what that actually for. And that's what that little guide is for. So we have the, excuse me, we have the teaspoon of baking powder, the salt, and now we're just going to adjust my camera again. We're just going to mix those together. Okay. So for Instagram people, hey Allie, good to see you again. Oh my gosh, it's been a while. All right. So what we have here, we just mixed our flour and our our baking soda, our baking powder, and not baking soda, our baking powder, our flour, and our salt are all right here. All right, so what we need to do next, we're going to move over and then we're going to take our egg. Like I said, I've already divided our eggs. So for eggs right here, I already have the egg whites, have the egg whites right here. For the YouTube followers, have the egg whites right here. We're going to put them inside of my mixer bowl. And then if this gets loud, I apologize, but we should be pretty quick about it. And then we're just going to whip those together. Once we get those to a warm, a stiff peak, we'll go from there. But that's loud. I do apologize. I probably my microphone up a little bit. It's just Allie. Wow, long time, Miss Allie. I said, what you can see over here, what I'm doing here is the long peak. So I'm lifting the egg whites up right here. Okay? So the egg white, we're going to lift these to a stiff peak. So they should be pretty close. So what you want to look for when you're whipping these to a stiff peak is you want to look like this. So pull this off and see how that's a soft peak, and what that's called is a soft peak because see how it kind of falls over a little bit. So we're going to whip it a couple seconds longer. All right. We're not looking to make a meringue. So here we go. Back here. Like I said, honestly, a couple seconds longer. And that's what you call a stiff peak. Okay. So now if you look at the difference, see how they're standing up straight? Right? Look at the difference here. They're standing up straight. All right. So now we have our stiff peaks going here. Okay. All right. Now what we're going to do, we're going to take this bowl here. All right. And we're going to mix our egg yolks. These are our egg yolks here. We mix our egg yolks. Camp Zama. I know, no kidding. Camp Zama's been years ago. Oh, don't worry, Allie. I remember you very well. Rock star. Such a great girl. All right. So we have our egg yolks, and we're going to have our, make sure. All right. We're going to mix in our milk here. Can Instagram, can you guys hear me okay through these? And YouTube, can you hear me through these as well? All right. If you have trouble hearing me at all, please let me know. All right. So we have our egg yolks and we have our milk in here. So now we're going to add our oil. All right. That's one of the big differences between pancakes. We're going to have between pancakes and waffles. Pancakes have a lot of oil. All right. So now we have all that ingredients mixed right there. And here's what it's going to be looking like. I'll put the Instagram followers in right here. All right, everything's just mixed together. Great and simple here. So now I'm going to take my flour mixture. I'm going to add that in slowly. Put about a half of it in. And stir that in real quick. Scraping my sides. Stir that in. And that over here. Thanks, Allie. Yeah, I went from being a nurse and medic over to being a chef. So after I left the military, I started cooking school, and then went to cooking school over to Le Cordon Bleu, and then from Le Cordon Bleu, I joined a couple hotels. I started working for Vell Associates, and I went to a couple hotels. My first hotel was Ritz Carlton, where I learned my 5-star experience, and so 5-star, 5 diamond, and I went from there. Okay, so now we're going to go ahead and add in our vanilla. This is up to you about how much vanilla flavor you like. For vanilla flavor, I like the flavor of vanilla. So I'm gonna add my vanilla in right now. And this is about 1 teaspoon right there, okay? And it's just literally up to you how much flavor you like of your vanilla. Okay. Okay. All right. Now the fun part is we're gonna take these egg whites that we've whipped up really well. Take these egg whites, see how they're sitting stiff? Now we're just gonna set those inside here. Okay, we're gonna set those on one side of the bowl. And this is my first time cooking on Instagram. I usually do this on just on YouTube, but I decided to go on Instagram at the same time. So hopefully it's working out really well. All right, so what I wanted to show you is so I have the egg yolks here, I mean the egg whites here on the side of the bowl, right? So because what we're gonna do here, let me see if I can show you as I go. We're gonna take this in, we're gonna fold them, okay? So when you hear folding, that's what folding is right there, okay? Because what you're trying to do, you're trying to keep the air inside the waffles, because that's what helps keep it fluffy. I mean, you already have your chemical leavener, which is your baking powder, but your other leavener is going to be, your other part that helps keep it fluffy is going to be the waffle and the egg whites. Now, when you go out and you buy a waffle mix, read that side of the bag what's on your waffle mix, and you'll be unpleasantly surprised at how many ingredients are actually in there. In this way, as you saw, I did not add any sugar. I didn't add any undue materials, any undue flavorings, right? Some people love waffle mix, and I do too. However, there's so many things that you can add instead. Okay, so what I've done now, I've got this all set over here, right here, and as you see here, it's nice and airy, right? What do y'all think? You think it's airy enough? I'm surprised nobody's chatting in YouTube tonight. Why? So we've got that going on over here. Now, if you look over here, I've got my waffle iron. I didn't have a plug long enough to reach over there, so get my waffle iron. As you see, it's nice and hot. So I like to take my waffle iron. I like to hit it with a little bit of oil, and then I'm have to turn my waffle iron ready because I'm used to the professional waffle irons that you flip and turn. So I like that a lot. Ah, cool. Great to see you again as well, Ali. I'm glad you love waffles. All right, so now that my waffle iron is nice and hot, I've got my cup here with some flour. Got my cup here. And go ahead and throw it in there. All right, so it takes a little bit more than a quarter cup usually, and we're gonna get that going over there. So now that's cooking over there, I decided so instead of us just waiting for a waffle to be done, I'm going to go ahead and make a I'm going to go ahead and make a brown butter. So let me go to my freezer real quick. I've got a bowl of ice here chilling. Got a bowl of ice here chilling. And then I've got my bowl here. All right, let me get some water in there. All right, bam! Look at that. Check that out. So now I've got my bowl of ice. Got my bowl sitting on top of there for you all in here. So what we're doing, we're gonna make a brown butter here. All right, the brown butter is gonna be delicious. And from what I did over here on the stove, I took a stick of butter. Look at that. Look at that goodness. Oh my gosh, that's amazing. So what I did, I took a stick of butter and I cooked it for a while, right? Look at that. Can you see that? Look at that brown butter poured in here a little bit. Don't get too many of the grains in there. All right, but that is delicious brown butter right there. Okay, so I'm gonna rinse my whisk got dirty. So now what we're going to do here, we're going to start whisking this together. It's going to happen really fast. All right, we'll see if that's done. It's that fast. The longest part here is honestly the longest part. And then I'm adding a little bit of salt because I like to control my salt in my butter. All right. Now that I took it off the heat, off the cold, I'm going to finish whipping it a little bit more. And the aroma of the brown butter smells fantastic. So then I take a little bit so you can see what's going on over here. All right, so see how it's changed already? So now I'm going to take a little maple syrup. Let's add a little bit more. Take a little maple syrup in there, right? And then, while we have that maple syrup happening here, I'm going to give it another whisk, whisk them a little bit more. Now, you're going to take those waffles that you had and the waffles that you made, and now they're going to be something completely different because you put a little brown butter, maple brown butter on there. And being that you whip it, come on, whip butter. It's like going to Denny's, right? Everybody likes whipped butter. It's going to Denny's right there, I'll tell you what. And then that's what that's what you're left with. You see that just took minutes to do, right? As you see, that just took minutes. It was so fast. And so many people think that cooking healthy or cooking food that's at home is going to take long, but it's not. It's literally just something that's fast and easy. And there's no reason to think that you can't cook quickly for your home. All right. Now we're getting close to the final here. We're getting close to the plate up, the good old plate up here. All right, Allie. Allie, you have to connect with me later for sure. It's so good to see you. Holy cow. All right, so my waffle iron is green. I like to let it go a little bit longer for a little crispiness. Okay. And why is my YouTube? Anybody here YouTube? I can't see any chats happening. Anybody here right now? All right. And the waffle's almost done here. So now you'll see the waffle right here. Look at that beaut. Look at that beaut, all right? Look at that beaut. It's delicious. All right, now we're going to get a little fancy here. Now we'll get some little fancy here. I'm going to take some spoons, get my brown butter out of here because it got really in there really well. It'll be fancy today. Fancy. We're going to make something called a quenelle. Haven't done a quenelle in a hot second, so it'd be fun to play around with one. There we go. We're going to set that brown butter right there. We're going to put a couple raspberries on here just for flavor and texture and color. All right. I never like to put even numbers on anything. So I think that's pretty right there, right? What do you think, huh? What do you guys think right now? What do you think? What do you think about that? How's that look? Just give me a call later for sure. I'll DM you after this and I'll shoot you my phone. All right, so now with our waffle, and now look at this, some fresh maple syrup right there. You can't ask for anything better than that right there, can you? Look at that fresh waffle. This is a little bit out of zoom here. There we go. That's a little bit better zoom, huh? All right there, huh? All right, so Now let's just taste this and see how it goes. Let's just see how we did. And this, my friends, is this is a normal waffle, a homemade waffle with a brown maple butter. Mm, come on. It's exactly what you want right there. My goodness, my goodness. All right, so here's the here's what we did tonight. Simple waffle, a little bit of brown butter, maple, and you have a good, delicious waffle right there. Not overly complicated. It took less than 20 minutes from start to finish. I think it literally takes you more time to get the ingredients ready. And literally, there's 7 ingredients here. Come on. And you can pronounce every single one of them. All right. Thank you for being here tonight. I truly appreciate it. Um, if you don't follow me already, this is our website, Basberry. I'm actually creating a website because we sell. Many of you know, some of you don't know, but we sell cinnamon rolls. I'm getting ready to try to figure out how to put them for statewide shipping. As of right now, they're just local, but we are selling cinnamon rolls, and I do these cooking classes free to the public every 2 weeks, and I'm looking to go every week now. But every 2 weeks, every Thursday at 6 p.m., we have free cooking classes just for you to connect and go through. And honestly, if you're ever out and you want to learn how to cook something and you had a question, feel free to DM me and we'll walk through it together. I have no problem with that. All right. Well, thank you so much for being here tonight. I truly appreciate it. Have a good night. Bye bye.